here's a little story I got to tell about a little stanky little store I know so well. Take two. Hey guys, Danny Alvarez with Cellphonias.com. I don't know what that was. Danny Alvarez with Cellphonias.com, bringing you the latest news and views that you can use. That was hilarious. That was just terrible. Anyways, to get back to my story, guys, I visited an iPhone store today. Yes, Cellphonias forced themselves to visit an iPhone store, and it wasn't all that bad. It was a very decent, very clean, very smart-looking people. But I was quite disconcerted by what Apple stands for as far as their way of doing things versus the way that Samsung does things. For instance, just last week, as a matter of fact, I put out a video with the Note 4 and the Note Edge, which are the newest phones that are not even out yet from Samsung. I was able to play around with them. I was able to do a somewhat, not necessarily a review, but a kind of a first look on the Galaxy Note Edge, as well as video previews coming from both the Galaxy Note 4 and the Galaxy Note Edge, front-facing camera versus rear-facing camera. If you haven't seen those, you gotta watch them. But here's the thing: as I was looking through these phones, I really got pretty intimate with them. I mean, it was awesome just looking at the phone, playing with it, touching it. It was just really amazing to be able to hold that device and really see what it really looks like. Because anybody can watch a video like this. Anybody can go to to a TV set and watch a commercial for a phone, and yeah, it might look pretty good on the commercial, but what does it really feel like? What is it really to actually experience that device is what Cellphonias tries to bring to you through the videos that we do. And that's what I try to articulate whenever I make my videos known, or at least showcase through samples, like the video sample that you'll look up after watching and liking and subscribing to my channel. The thing is, I went to an Apple iPhone store today, and I asked if they had a preview of the iPhone 6. And the guy looked at me like I was asking him if he knew where the pig heads were in the section, in which section pig heads were or something. Seriously. He was like, sir, we don't carry the iPhone 6 here yet, and when it's going to be on sale, people just line up and buy them. They just come and buy them. We don't need to show our customers what it really feels like to hold an iPhone 6 in their hand. People just know. Does that not speak to the fact that the iPhone then is just an iteration? That it isn't anything, it doesn't really offer anything. I don't want to say it that way. It just seems like I'm such an Android fanboy. But the fact of the matter is, the way I was treated, actually, when I whipped out my Samsung, that was like the epitome of all kinds of, it was like I was cursing the guy. The guy was really upset with me. He's like, oh my God, you know. He says, well, you know, yeah, you might have to, you know, do that with your device, but iPhone sells itself. Interestingly, he did mention when I whipped out my phone that, just like your phone, the iPhone 6 is just about the same size. Matter of fact, look at the footprint. So he whips out his beeper. I mean, excuse me, his iPhone 5S, and he puts it on the screen. And then he shows the iPhone 6, which is a little bit bigger. And then he grabs my phone and puts it against the screen, and there you are. Puts it against the screen, and it shows the iPhone, or rather the Galaxy Note 3. Pretty interesting. To tell me that the iPhone 6 is now very similar to the Samsung Galaxy Note 3. Of course, he didn't realize he said that. But as far as the Galaxy Note 4 and what I think about it is totally different. What I'm trying to highlight here is the difference between the Samsung experience and the Apple experience. That is, that the Apple experience does not account for people wanting to really play with the device and seeing what it has to offer. What does this offer me? How does it feel? How heavy does it feel? Can I compare it with my phone? They just don't do that because it's just closed. We're going to release it. We're going to release it. You can't touch it unless you're at the conference or launch site. You can't see it. You can't touch it. Well, Samsung has nothing to be afraid of. They know that they are innovating perhaps more than any other phone maker out there. I don't want to put down any other phone makers. Let me be honest and straight up with you right now. Apple has an awesome phone, okay? It's just the truth. Apple has an awesome phone. The Apple iPhone 6 is probably the most advanced that they've had, albeit late in many of the technologies that the Samsung devices, the LG devices, and other devices from other people like Motorola already have out. I'm just not trying to say that Samsung is supreme and the best and always, because, you know, eventually somebody's going to come up with something that's actually pretty cool, and we have to, as adults, really take that for what it is and say, you know, that's actually pretty cool. You did great, LG. Excellent in doing that. But I have an example of something, and watch this video that comes up right now, and you tell me what you think. Now that you've watched that video, you see that when you walk into a T-Mobile store, you're able to grab the phone and actually touch it. And I mean, that's what the customers all around me were actually doing in the background and the right. They were actually holding the phones and actually, like, you know, really trying to type on them and checking out how fast the web page would load. And that gets you to, well, maybe you want to buy the phone. Matter of fact, I may visit a store 2-3 times before I decide to buy a phone, regardless of which one it is, because I just want to try it for myself, make sure that the quality that's promised by the commercials and that the reviewers, what they're saying, that it's really true to me, that it is something that I like. And so a good reviewer will also obviously give you many points of view, but they'll then tell you their decision. And of course, that's their decision. That's why I believe the experience of being able to hold the Samsung, what an appropriate name Samsung put, the Samsung Experience. Why? Because they want you to touch it. Over there at the iPlace, man, I tell you, everything was locked down, tethered to the table. I mean, you couldn't hold that thing to see how heavy it was without some curly thing pulling on your hand. Therefore, you wouldn't be able to gauge how heavy it is. But it's different with Samsung, and I really applaud that. Way to go, Samsung. And as far as you as a consumer, it's time to demand a little bit more than just a commercial to get you to buy a phone. And it's time to demand more features from your manufacturer. And to be at the helm of innovation is actually, to me, the metal. It isn't just the name or the brand name or the trend, the fashion, well, I've got this fruit, therefore I'm, you know, the thing. What do you think about this, though? I'm really interested in knowing your opinion about this. And for more videos that are similar to this, obviously you'd have to subscribe to my channel to be able to view them. Send me your questions. I will be beginning a new series as well, guys, called whatever it's going to be called, and I expect suggestions if you don't mind helping me out with the naming of this session or sections. What I was going to do is kind of like maybe like an Ask Danny, or, you know, your phone questions answered, things like that. I get a lot of questions within the YouTube comments, but it's beginning to be a little bit overwhelming as I'm getting them from different places, from Twitter, from, I mean, I'm a one-man operation, to be honest with you, and I'd love to grow, obviously, and I'm going to do that with your support. But I'd like to focus on some of the most asked questions that are asked of me when making these videos. And so I'm going to be starting a new series. What do you think it should be named? Let me know. But I really need your comments on what you think about the iPhone or the Apple experience versus the Samsung experience. What has this been like for you? What do you think about the experience for both? It can be totally the opposite. I may be totally wrong. Prove me wrong. I mean, let me know what you think or what your experience has been. But I didn't feel welcome by the Apple team. And I wasn't being confrontational. As a matter of fact, I was open. I said I just wanted to check things out and see, you know, I'm an Android user and I'd like to learn a little bit more about Apple, and wanted to do so on their newest device to see what that latest iteration was. And I was really, honestly, I was kind of frowned upon. And the guy was really, he was not using non-decorous language, but he was just kind of talking down to me, like, poor pathetic guy. But I've got news for him. I mean, he obviously hasn't handled a real phone yet. Well, I mean, a Note 4 yet. I'm sorry. Or a Note 3 for that matter. For Cellphonius.com, you can find me, of course, on Twitter, at Maestro Alvarez. You can find me on Google+, Danny Alvarez. And, of course, you can comment at my blog at Cellphonius.com, as well as here on my YouTube channel, Cellphonius. And for Cellphonius.com, this is Danny Alvarez, checking out.